Welcome back, thanks for joining us. This week we're going to do an axe install and do the Axial SCX10. My buddy Fern had a problem with his other system. It let go in some water bashing, so I figured, hey, I got an extra axe waterproof system that we can throw into your truck. Why don't you swing by and throw it in and let me record it all. So he's going to sit down, do the install. We're going to talk about some of the ways to put things in, go through the setup and all that fun stuff. And if we're lucky, we'll get it out onto the rocks and do some first impressions as well. So full axe install coming up next. All right, so Fern sat down. Those are Fern's hands. These are my hands for future identifications. Fern's going to open the box, and we're going to get it in there. Go, take it away, Fern. Fast forward now! Most important part. So the most important part of the box is the instruction manual. Don't lose that. It's got lots of useful information in there that we'll cover. I'm a human instruction manual. Fern's just buttering up his pinion gear placements, but he had a mounting plate here. It's a piece of Lexan that he's got trimmed down to fit down on the rails, and it screws into the holes that are on the cross brace. So he's repositioning that a little bit to be able to scoot the speed control forward, give the receiver a little more slack for the servo wire. And he's getting ready to place his wires. The plan of attack is to have these run along the side, solder on the speed control right there, saying that this way he can keep everything away, far away from the dangerous spur gear. We may end up using another set of mounting holes and rotating the motor over to get these wires a little extra length, breathing room, all that fun stuff, but we'll figure that out as we go here. Take it away, Fern.
All right.
Oh, and I'm not following my own advice. Normally when you tin your wires, you want to do it so it's down, so the solder doesn't run up the wire like a novice. Bam. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. And then these are keyed, so be careful. And don't forget to screw the thing, otherwise it's not really waterproof. Alright. Take it away, Fern. Oh, here, good point. Just in case you're wondering, it is marked on the edge. You definitely, let me see, you can't see that at all. But where the wires go in, there's a blank side where you can see the brass color, and on the other solid side it's marked S. S is your signal, plus is positive, negative is the negative wire, or the minus is the minus wire, and then plug it in your receiver with that negative wire to the outside edge of the receiver. Next, we are going to do the calibration of the speed control to the throttle outputs of the radio. A lot of times we get calls, people put their new system in, it doesn't work right, it drives weird, whatever. It's usually because they haven't done the calibration yet. So before you start, you make sure that your throttle trim is zeroed out, all your sub trims are zeroed out, and you want to double check that your throttle travel and your brake travel are all set to 100%. So you go in and check that all ahead of time. We just did that right now. So we're going to plug in the battery. This is that goofy adapter that I run because these are Max batteries. And then you hold down, there's two buttons here. There's a little, you can't see it so well, but there's a small black button right there, and there's a big red power button over here. So to do the calibration process, you hold down the set button, you turn it on. It's going to start beeping or blinking the light, I think. You guys can see that. You can hear it if you can't. There's a light blinking down there. So while it's at neutral, that's terrible. See the light? It's going to do that. While it's at neutral, you hit the set button again. Then you go to full throttle. I'm holding it at full throttle. Tap it again, it blinks twice. Then you go to full reverse, tap it again, and blinks 3 times. And that's it. After that, you should get basic operation. It may be forwards or backwards, we'll see. So I'm giving it throttle, and the wheels are going backwards because the transmission, axial, whatever, rock crawl stuff, it always goes backwards. So the next thing we're going to want to do is hook up the Bluetooth through the phone and get all that set up. Next, we're going to go through and do the Bluetooth settings to get the speed control going the right direction and change a couple other things that I like. Default's okay, and we'll also double check that the firmware is updated. So for this one, all you have to do is turn on the speed control and then open up your Hobbywing Link app. Come on, phone. My phone's been acting super awesome today. This is the Hobbywing Wi-Fi Link app, but it works on the Bluetooth also. You go to your settings, and if you've ever used the other stuff before, this area here, I'll say it's connected for Wi-Fi. We're on the Bluetooth, so we're good to go there. And then all I got to do is tap the button for the speed control. It'll ask me which one I want. I don't want my GoPro. I want my Hobbywing thing. So it takes a moment. These things are never super fast. Bluetooth is rad. And then eventually, those little icons start to flash, and that means we're good to go. So I'm going to check the firmware. And right now, it says that the current is 107, and we have a new one, 112. So I'm going to update that before we get started. So that will take some time. Ooh, 97, 98, 99, and 100. It took probably about, what was that, 4 to 5 minutes total time. I think the clip started about 2 and we're at 7, so yeah, about 5 minutes, give or take, to do the firmware update. And then once it finishes it, it's going to do all this fun stuff. And then we're actually going to recalibrate the speed control. Alright. Okay, so we did the update, and now we're going to go in and change a couple of the settings. So I have to reconnect, because when it says restart, it means turn the speed control off and on. Restart is the same for turning off and on. So it's connecting, and we're going to jump on the parameters once that's done and go look at a couple settings, customize this thing, and maybe change Fern's password so that we're out on the rocks. Only I can access the speed control. No, I'm just kidding. He can do all that later. So it shows you the first profile, and then these are all the settings that are in there. We'll talk about what each of these do. Cutoff voltages for your LiPos. You have off, low, medium, and high. Low is about probably 3.2, 3.1 per cell. Medium is about 3.3, 3.4. And high is about 3.5, 3.6 per cell, just in case you were wondering. Max forward speed, max reverse speed is what these are. Max forward force, max reverse force, that's just top speed. The setup has turbo timing as well, so if you need a little more wheel speed on the top end, you can add 10 degrees of top speed turbo timing. And then the turbo delay is there to let you have it kind of kick in, or if you want it to come on right when you get to full throttle. So you can set it so like up to a half a second after you get to full throttle, it'll give you that little extra boost of turbo timing that you added in. Oops, I went the wrong button there. Drag brake force is your drag brake strength, just like the other ones, how strong you want your drag brake. It defaults to 80%, and it goes way past that to like 200% because these drag brakes are ridiculously strong, so they had to make a new scale for them. Now, drag brake increase rate is how fast the speed control decides to hit your drag brakes for you. And there's an auto mode that I suggest everybody try. I think it's fantastic, so I'm going to set Fern up that way because that's the way I've been running mine. And what auto does is it looks at the speed of the motor and then determines how quickly to hit the brakes. So it's pretty neat, so you can go fast, not think about it, and just let go. And when you're going slow, it also has those nice immediate drag brake grab. If you like it slower or faster all the time, level 1 is the slowest, level 9 is the fastest. Most of the time, I used to run mine on level 1 all the time, but since this auto stuff got mentioned, I decided to start playing with that, and it turns out I really like it. Neutral range is your deadband, the first movement of throttle to the first movement of reverse. So if you have like a worn out throttle or you're real sensitive on your throttle inputs, you can increase your neutral range. Throttle increase rate, this is like your punch level, so to speak. When you click to full throttle, how quickly it responds. I like a nice crispy response, and we always run good batteries, good plugs, so I like to run all of our stuff turned all the way up in that regard. BEC voltage is real easy. It's the voltage of the BEC for the servo and the receiver. And then motor rotation, we have to switch that because it was going the wrong direction. So for most of the crawlers, depending on how you have your stuff set up, you probably have to run it the wrong way. And then we will change this profile to Fern, because this is Fern's truck. Woo. Done there. And then you hit save, and you say OK. Save successful. And we back out of here. Got Fern's name in there. If you want to change passwords and all that stuff, you do it all in here. And that's pretty much everything as far as getting going. Before you turn everything off, you want to disconnect. Hit OK. It's disconnected. Close the app. Turn the speed control off. So calibration. We're going to walk through the calibration real quick. We just done a firmware update, so we want to make sure that we do the calibration. I suppose could have done the firmware first and then the calibration, saved us one step, but anyway, here we're going to do it again just to make sure. So you hold the set button down, power it on, starts to blink at you. You let go of the button, you get to neutral and you tap the button. Go to full throttle, you tap the button. Go to full reverse and you tap the button, and that's all there is to it. And we'll pick it up here and make sure that all of our settings took. It goes the right direction. Goes forward, just like we want it. Goes reverse, and then there we go. Fern's gonna butter up all the wiring, make it look nice and pretty, and then we're gonna maybe sneak out onto the rocks, or we'll save it for another day. We're gonna go out to the local spot, Flat Rock it's called. You've seen some of these rocks before, so we're gonna go find some different spots I haven't shown you yet, and get Fern to go drive his sweet new Axe-powered system. Fern, are you excited?
Oh yeah, super excited.
That's his regular voice. He sounds like that all the time. Fern's first day with his new axe system. He's been like a kid in a candy store, jumping up and down off camera, so excited. We were trying to be quiet so we don't sound like super nerds. And of course, he's gonna be a little biased. Like, we gave him the system to try out and whatever, drive around, so he's gonna love it. But it is...
No, there's a difference. For the super slow crawling aspect, that yeah, I've never driven anything like this one.
He's never been a Hobbywing fan, so to speak. So I think we may have converted him a little bit here. So I told him we have to go. It's lunchtime. Lunch break's over. We got to get back to work. He says I have to walk home. He's going to stay here and crawl for a couple more hours. Oh, I'm ruining my mat with my solder blobs. Clean that thing off. No, clean it up.
Oh, that, yeah.
Silly goose. I thought you said you knew how to solder.
I do, but...
It doesn't look like it. How are you holding the solder iron like a rookie? Hold it like a pen. tin the thing first?
No.
Alright, beat it.
Alright.
Don't worry, we'll edit that part out.
Yeah.
Turn the soldering off so you don't hurt yourself. Don't worry, we can edit that out too.